We think reading great Christian books is vital for spiritual growth, so we're asking significant Christian leaders which 3 books have changed their lives. Matt Redman is married to Beth and they have 5 children. They're based on the south coast of England near Brighton. Matt's been a full-time worship leader since the age of 20, and this has taken him to countries such as South Africa, Japan, Australia, Germany and the Czech Republic. Along the way he's sung in venues such as the Angels Baseball Stadium, the old and new Wembley Stadiums and St Paul's Cathedral. Matt's earlier songs include The Heart of Worship, You Never Let Go and Blessed Be Your Name. He's also won a double Grammy for 10,000 Reasons. Matt is also the author of several books including 10,000 Reasons, The Unquenchable Worshipper, Mirable and Blessed Be Your Name.
The first book is a book called My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. It's obviously a classic. I think a lot of people would put it towards the top of their lists. One thing I love about it is that it's short little bite-sized chunks of teaching, and for me that works really well. But the great thing about Oswald Chambers is there's always something in those little bites of teaching. My favourite quote comes from that book. It says, "Complete weakness and dependence will always be the occasion for the Spirit of God to manifest His power." I just think that's a fantastic thought and a fantastic way to approach life. You look through the old scriptures, all these Bible stories, and you see that's the thing, you know, complete weakness and dependence. It's always the occasion for the Spirit of God to manifest His power. I know that's been true in my own life too. The second book is The Treasury of David by Charles Spurgeon. I love Charles Spurgeon. He just writes with a poetry and a passion, and I don't know what it is, but there's something I really connect with in the way he writes, and I love some of the thoughts that he has. And The Treasury of David for me would be the best example. I've always loved the Psalms, and it's a 3-volume study on the Psalms. And for me, I mean, start with the Psalms, amazing. There's a songbook in the middle of the Bible. It would have been the hymn book of Jesus as he walked the earth. These 150 songs, and so I love it that Spurgeon's diving into each and every one and unpacking them. He's given you some little insights from him, some kind of poetic devotional thoughts, and then he brings in a few bits from other scholars of the day, you know, little nuggets of wisdom or insight into the scripture. The third book is a tiny little book by John Piper. It's called The Dangerous Duty of Delight. It's just a real small little hardback book. You can probably read it in an hour, honestly, but every page seems to pack a punch. Just these great insights. And it's actually, he wrote a real classic book called Desiring God, but that was a much longer and loftier, weightier volume. And this is really just instilling everything from that book into these 100 pages or something. This whole thing is about God is most glorified in us when we're most satisfied in Him, and the fact that praising God and pursuing joy aren't 2 separate acts. So he takes us into that theme, and if you've never read any of his stuff, this is a great place to start. To someone who said they were too busy to read, I say maybe you haven't found your kind of book yet, you know, because actually I think some people just get daunted. They see these big volumes and like, oh man, I can't read that. But you know, if you find something you love, then you'll probably find time for it, and you'll probably find a way to break it down so it fits into your life. For me, I work with words, you know, songwriting and all sorts of things. But even for me, I find some of these big fat books, they can freak you out a little bit and intimidate you, but don't let yourself be intimidated, you know, just take them a little bit at a time, and if it's a great book, it'll draw you in.
I've got 3 fantastic books to tell you about this month, and the first one is written by a friend of mine. It's called The Evolution of the West by Nick Spencer, How Christianity Has Shaped Our Values. Nick is the Director of Research at the excellent Theos think tank, and he's written a book to help us understand how Christianity has provided the amniotic fluid in which Western culture has flourished. It's full of profound insight. It's a great book to give someone who might be exploring the Christian faith, but also someone who might be skeptical about Christianity. Really worth the read, The Evolution of the West. The second book is also written by a friend of mine. It's by Mark Woods, and it's called Does the Bible Really Say That? And it's challenging our assumptions in the light of Scripture. Let me read you some of the chapter headings. God may not have a plan for your life, and that's okay. God doesn't heal everyone, and he doesn't want to. Beginning at the beginning, why we need to talk about origins. It's a provocative little book. You won't agree with everything that's written in it, but it will make your thinking more biblical, because you'll go back to the Bible to see if what Mark actually says makes sense. And my final book is by Pete Greig, another friend of mine, and it's called Dirty Glory, Go Where Your Best Prayers Take You. And this is a fantastic book. I've read it cover to cover, and it's the story of what happened next in the 24/7 prayer movement after Pete's best-selling book, The Red Moon Rising. And it's packed full of poetry and wisdom and stories that will inspire you and encourage you to get praying. Thanks for tuning in to Books for Life. Visit our website to hear all the latest news about all the latest books.